My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now.
Hey, I'm Cramer. Welcome to Mad Money. Welcome to Cramer. Other people want to make friends? I'm just trying to save you some money. My job is not just to entertain, but to educate and teach you, so call me at 1-800-743-CNBC or tweet me at Jim Cramer. OMG! Home Depot wasn't perfect. Hold the presses. Yep, when the home improvement retailer reported weaker than anticipated same-store sales this very morning, it was like the world stopped. It was like the day the earth stood still. Yeah, the whole session. Because the Dow, which includes Home Depot, lost 282 points. S&P tumbled 0.71%. NASDAQ shed 0.93%. Ugly. On a day when retail sales fell more than expected, while COVID cases continued to surge and housing affordability hit a 9-year low, we ended up with a moment nobody wanted to see, a moment where the expansion seems to be pausing, where people are reconsidering home renovation, and most disconcerting, when the Fed's finally getting serious about tightening. Member of the Fed, are you kidding me? Let's go over what happened today. Everything started at 6 a.m. when Home Depot reported disappointing same-store sales number. That's like-to-like stores year over year. Now, when a retailer racks up more than $40 billion in sales over the course of 3 months, I am very reluctant to criticize management. I'd love to argue that the market overreacted, but it didn't take long before Craig Menear, who is the Home Depot's fantastic CEO, I mean, he is sharp as a tack, he shocked us to the core right at the top of the call. We'll listen to this. We have seen a shift in pattern of sales within the week, as our weekday sales performance has actually strengthened relative to the weekend. But he went on to say, we attributed this to consumers returning to travel and other recreation activities. In other words, there might be less demand for do-it-yourself remodeling as the world goes back to normal, or at least that's what happened last quarter. In the end, Home Depot will be fine. Professional contractors are busier than ever, and those are the best customers. The real issue is that the consumers sure picked an awful time to go back to travel and recreation. The specter of the Delta variant is making people reconsider all sorts of fun decisions, especially their vacation plans, which means the money that was initially supposed to go to Home Depot, then got shifted to travel, might not get shifted to anything. That's right, it might not do anything. And that's going to hurt a host of sectors, everything from housing to retail to travel, leisure, airspace, you get it. So Home Depot stock's looking down 15%, $15 so this morning, right before the big show even begins. And it was a specter, an ugly ghoul, a golem that visited the stock market. Then at 8:32 a.m., ominously 2 minutes late, we find out that the U.S. retail sales were down 1.1% for July. Wow, that's a total confirmation of what Home Depot's saying. Sure, I know that Walmart, a much bigger chain, reported an amazing quarter. They didn't talk about how they've been hurt by a consumer who's happy frolicking in faraway places. They were still just spending it at home at Walmart. Still, the retail sales number was not encouraging, even though Walmart is the biggest retailer. It gets worse. You know what's weakening? Car sales. I think a lot of that's because we've got a car shortage. There aren't enough semiconductors to produce lots of new vehicles. Meanwhile, used car prices have gone up so much that I'm getting a fabulous deal on my 16-year-old clunker that I have to take in. Hey, but you know what? When the market's on a negative jag, nobody's willing to write something like, ooh, this is a simple supply problem. Oh, no. Like today, everybody's worried about demand. Cars? Not enough demand. That's false. False narrative. But it took control today. Same thing when you listen to the Home Depot conference call. They had a lot to say about housing, and you can interpret those comments in many ways. You can argue people aren't spending as much as they were on their houses. You can say housing prices got too expensive. You can point out there's a major shortage of new homes. But all the home stocks were down. Oh, and try to sell that rap to the paint makers, where the price increases have been so horrendous that sales have been hurt. Same with hardware, outdoor furniture, indoor furniture. Yeah, Home Depot sales were all in those particular aisles were all down year over year. And everyone's just decided that's a demand problem. You know, you find yourself wondering, maybe the consumer isn't as healthy as we thought. We got all that money from the Fed, for the federal government, and tax credit for children. Hey, you see, maybe people are petrified that the vaccines don't work as well as we'd hope, thanks to these new variants. Or maybe they live in a part of the country where most people have refused to get their shots. All we know from Home Depot's conference call is that things are worse than they seemed 24 hours ago. That's what happened. See, no big investor likes to hear that reality is worse than it seemed. especially when the chatter in classes are endlessly telling us that the Fed is totally gung-ho about raising interest rates. That's the last thing we need right now. So what happens? Remember my long-term thesis? Money never leaves this casino. No one ever seems to cash out and buy themselves some nice Brioni suits or overpriced Bruno Cucinelli cashmere sweaters. They just change tables. But they go from the consumer's red hot and going places tables, where the betting limit's about $10 million, to the consumer's ice cold and going nowhere slot machines, where you only put down $1 million. And that's why the winners today were stocks with no economic sensitivity. Something like Moderna can surge more than 7%, the biggest one in the S&P 500 today, because we're much more likely to get Moderna's booster shots when we're all scared of losing our precious immunity before that's, I don't know, football season. Same reason Pfizer jumped 3%. It's why Regeneron stock roared, thanks to its monoclonal antibody cocktail. More on that later. It's why Kroger can take off, because we know Walmart's grocery business is strong. Plus, Warren Buffett just added to his position in Kroger again. It's why Domino's could zoom, because people are staying home again, ordering delivery, especially cheaper delivery. Oh, and get this, the buyers. I mean, I quit Campbell's. There we go again. Kellogg's, Smuckers. With a name like that, its stock better be good. And that's, wow. The problem with this kind of rotation, it's stupid. No, it's that lazy thinking I keep telling you about. Remember, Home Depot didn't actually miss its revenue or earnings numbers. And the same-store sales only came in a tiny bit shy. And the pros are still building. It's different buying patterns. No reason to panic. What happens, for instance, get this, what happens if their arch rival, Lowe's, whose stock was down big today, reports tomorrow and says it had none of those problems? What if Lowe's tells you the consumer's spending harder than ever? Honestly, it wouldn't shock me, because Marvin Ellison, the CEO of Lowe's, is fantastic at his job. What happens if the Federal Reserve watches our show and realizes, holy cow, why don't we just wait a couple of months, see how bad this Delta thing really is? The wholesale reevaluation of everything each day that I come in here is why I feel like this is a say goodbye to tranquility market. We thought we had this smooth transition from spending on your home to spending on travel and leisure with no let-up in between. Now instead, it suddenly looks like no travel, no home renovations, and no car buying for that matter. Now, are things truly that dire? Listen, I think the market as a whole is catastrophizing these events, and I say that as someone who has a lot of experience blowing things out of proportion. I think you need to pick at stocks that got hit as part of the collateral damage from this new, more negative worldview. Meanwhile, the drug stocks, the real estate investment trusts, the foodstuffs, they're all going to work for a couple of days. However, if we catch a break, if the Delta variant burns itself out, either because the unvaccinated get their shots or because everybody gets infected, then you're going to have to switch gears in a hurry. And my COVID seer, our own Dr. Gottlieb, who I believe serves on the board of Pfizer and Illumina, no, I know he actually does, thinks that's the case, and he is not a born optimist by any means. The bottom line, don't get too complacent in your negativity. I am unmoved from my bullish stance, even if Home Depot just bushwhacked me with one of its 2x4s that it can't sell because the price of lumber just got too darn high.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.